Today we are discussing about active transport. Active transport is ATP, or we can also call it energy dependent transport. So for the transport of the substances across the plasma membrane or the protein which help in its transport, they need energy. That energy is provided by the ATP. Second thing, it occurs against the concentration gradient. It occurs against the concentration gradient. That means it occurs from lower concentration to higher concentration. One more important thing is about the active transport. The ions and metabolites are transported from lower concentration to higher concentration. So we can simply say this active transport is energy dependent transport, where the substance moves from lower concentration to higher concentration. One of the things which get transported mostly is the ions and the metabolites. These are transported across the plasma membrane. Now this active transport, it is of two types. First one we have is a primary active transport, and second one we have is a secondary active transport. Let's see the first one is a primary active transport. You know the transport within the plasma membrane, especially some things which are not allowed by the plasma membrane, especially by lipid bilayer, are mostly transported by the transporters. And in the transport we have studied the passive transport, and we are studying now the active transport. In a primary active transport, the protein or the carrier protein, it utilizes energy directly. So we can say in case of primary active transport, carrier protein utilizes energy, utilize ATP or energy directly. That means for the activation of this carrier protein to move the substance from external environment, that's from extracellular matrix, that is region located external to the plasma membrane, extracellular matrix to intracellular matrix, the carrier protein is utilizing ATP. So we can say here the carrier protein is utilizing ATP for its activation. So we can say this carrier protein utilizes energy or ATP directly in a primary active transport. Second thing, we have the very important thing, that is the most common carrier protein, or the most common pumps which are mostly seen in case of animal cell, is a sodium potassium pump. Sodium potassium pump, which is mostly seen in case of animal cell, is the most common example of primary active transport. ये सबसे common example है primary active transport. That is sodium potassium pump, or you can also call it as sodium potassium ATPase. It is also known as sodium potassium ATPase. Now this sodium potassium pump within the plasma membrane, what it helps? It helps in efflux of 3 sodium ions. That means the sodium ions are taken from cytoplasm to the extracellular matrix, and coupled with influx of 2 potassium ions, coupled with influx of 2 potassium ions. That means these potassium ions are taken from extracellular matrix towards the cytoplasm. So the very important thing is, if we have a primary active transport, the primary active transport is utilizing ATP directly. So the carrier protein which is mainly involved in the plasma membrane, the most common is a sodium potassium pump in case of animals. This is actually sodium potassium pump is actually acting as a primary active transporter. So we can also call it a sodium potassium ATPase. Now here the sodium potassium ATPase directly, why we call it ATPase? Because it's helping in the breaking down of ATP to form the ADP plus phosphate. That means the energy liberated, that energy activates this protein. With the activation of this protein, 3 sodium ions are expelled out from the cytoplasm to the extracellular matrix, and 2 potassium ions move in from extracellular matrix to the intracellular matrix. So we can say this pump is known as sodium potassium pump, but this uses energy directly. That's why we call it as a primary active transport. When this movement takes place, the 3 sodium ions are taken out. That means the sodium concentration in an extracellular matrix it increases, leads to the plasma membrane externally more positive charged, because the sodium ions move external to it. So the extracellular matrix, that means the part of the plasma membrane which is towards the extracellular matrix, becomes more positive, and the part of the plasma membrane which is towards the cytoplasm becomes more negative, because more sodium ions are taken out from the cytoplasm. That means it becomes slightly negative, it becomes positive. Now we have the next thing which we have to study here is a secondary active transport. What it means? Let's have the view about secondary active transport. The next thing we have is a secondary active transport. Secondary active transport is dependent upon primary active transport. It is dependent upon primary active transport, or we can simply say it indirectly uses energy. Indirectly uses energy for transport of substance or transport. This is very important thing. Say for instance, we will take the example, we have one of the transporter that is located inside the plasma membrane. That transporter we call as sodium dependent glucose transporter. Say this is a sodium dependent glucose transporter. SGLT. We can also call it as sodium dependent glucose co-transporter. Is seen in case of the plasma membrane. Now what happened? When this primary active transport takes place, what happened? The sodium concentration in an extracellular matrix it increases. When the sodium concentration in an extracellular matrix increases, the sodium concentration, now the sodium from the extracellular matrix moves towards the intracellular matrix along the concentration gradient from higher concentration to lower concentration. Now when it moves, it liberates energy. When it liberates energy, this energy is utilized by this transporter to take in the glucose from lower concentration to higher concentration. So this we have to keep in mind, the very important thing, that is when the primary active transport takes place, what happens? The sodium concentration in extracellular matrix it increases. Now this sodium concentration will increase here. Now this sodium moves from higher concentration to lower concentration, that's along the concentration gradient towards the intracellular matrix. When it moves, this sodium during its movement from higher to the lower, it liberates energy. That energy is utilized by this carrier protein to take in the glucose from lower concentration to higher concentration. But the very important thing is glucose is mainly transported by the carrier mediated diffusion. That is the facilitated diffusion. You have to keep in mind that's a passive process. But if the glucose, some of the glucose remains there because passive is not so fast. Passive is not that type of a movement where the every glucose molecule is taken from extracellular matrix to the intracellular matrix. Some glucose remains there. That glucose is taken by the primary active transport. You have to keep in mind. That means glucose moves from lower concentration to higher concentration, but sodium moves from higher concentration to lower. That means sodium moves along the concentration gradient, whereas glucose moves against the concentration gradient. And the most important example we have is the S-glutate, that is sodium-dependent glucose co-transport. So if we have to write these points, the very important thing is here, the most common transporter we have, S-glutate, which is mainly performing the secondary active transport, which is acting as secondary active transporter. That means it is directly or it is dependent upon the primary active transport, or it is indirectly using the ATP. Here you have to keep in mind, in case of S-glutate, the sodium moves along the concentration gradient. Along the concentration gradient. That means the sodium moves from higher concentration, it moves from higher concentration to lower concentration. But the most important thing is the glucose moves against the concentration gradient. Against the concentration gradient. That means it moves from lower concentration to higher concentration. Because most of the glucose is transported by facilitated diffusion and some of the glucose is transported by secondary active transport. If anybody asks you, is this secondary active transport is a passive transport? No, it is wrong. It's always an active transport, because when the primary active transport takes place, then the secondary takes place. That means primary is dependent on energy, secondary is dependent on primary transport. That means both of them are energy dependent transporters. This is all about the active transport. Tomorrow we'll go for the pumps.